we're going to make some tinga in the kitchen. And this is a recipe that we learned how to make, oh gosh, it's been several years now, from our friend Manassas that is from Hidalgo, Mexico, which is more in the center of Mexico. And he came over to the house one day, he was so sweet, and he taught me how to do it. And so this little shout out to Manassas. Thanks for teaching us this. We've been doing this now for, I don't know, 6, 7 years. So the first thing that we're going to do, I actually have some, you know Maggie, she's my best friend. We've got 2 cubes of Maggie the chicken. This is the tomato bouillon cubes that I put in some boiling water over here. And I've got 2 pounds of chicken that I'm going to boil. Now, you can use any part of the chicken that you want. Whew. It doesn't matter, you just need 2 pounds. And you just want to boil that. And the reason that I use the Maggie the chicken is it's just going to give a little bit more flavor to the broth, because we're going to go ahead and use that broth a little bit later. So we just want it to be really flavorful. And then up here on the front, I have my pot, and I'm going to put just a little swish, not very much, of canola. Actually, it's funny, I was kind of thinking about this recipe today, and I was thinking about how this is a very healthy recipe. I mean, there's really just a lot of vegetables, some chicken, minimal canola. So this is a very healthy, friendly dish. Which, you know, as you all know, sometimes Mexican food, there can be a lot of fattening stuff involved. But this one is actually pretty healthy. So now I put a whole onion that I cut up into rings into my pan, and I'm just going to let that saute just a little bit. And then I'm going to give it probably just a couple minutes, and then we're going to add the next thing. We're ready to move on to the next step. Okay, the next step, I've got a whole cabbage that I have shredded up, and I'm going to add that in with my onion. Now, cabbage has a lot of natural water in it. It's just full of water. So as this cabbage cooks here, it's really going to steam down, and we're going to have a lot of excess water. Okay, with our cabbage, we're just going to kind of keep this on a medium heat, medium-lower heat, I should say, medium-low. And it's in there with my onion, and I'm going to put a lid on it. And basically, it's just going to start to wilt down. And then come on over here. Our chicken's done. Now, you have to remember, if you've been watching my videos before, you don't want to overboil your chicken. There's nothing worse than overboiled chicken. So you need to watch your chicken, and the second that it is no longer pink, that is when you need to pull it off. So now I'm just going to shred up my chicken and get that ready and set it aside, and then we're going to move on to the next step. Okay, so this is starting to wilt down a little bit. So I'm going to take a little bit of my broth that I had, and I'm going to pour it right in there over the top. Not too much, just, oh, that was probably about 1/4 of a cup, just to get it going, get those liquids marrying together. And then we're just going to put the lid back on and let it keep wilting down. At our next step, I have some chipotle chili pepper, and this is really a crucial part of tinga. I mean, you can't really make tinga if you don't have the chipotle pepper. Depending upon how much heat you want will depend upon how many chipotles you want, but you want to make sure you get some of that good adobo sauce, because that makes a huge difference. So I'm just going to, I've got a couple here, and you want to make sure you get all that sauce in there, because the sauce is what's really going to give it that wonderful smoked flavor. So I'm just going to stir that around. And basically, we've got to get this cabbage to where you don't really see a lot of that green color anymore. I mean, it's really going to be pretty translucent when it's finished cooking. And we're just going to let that keep going. Okay, I've also got a can of stewed tomatoes. These are the petite diced, and I'm just draining it because I'm not going to need a lot of that liquid, because we've already got liquid over there. The petite diced are just the really fine dice, and I really like using that for this. So we'll just shake out all that liquid, and then we'll just go ahead and add that. to add a little bit of salt to this. And like I said, we're just letting it slowly cook down until our cabbage becomes a really light color. And we're getting there. You can see that it's getting there. And you might say, well, why haven't you added the chicken? Well, we've talked about this at the beginning, how we don't want our chicken to overcook and we don't want it to become all dried out. So we're really waiting until just the last few minutes to re-add the chicken. So then we will add the chicken just in the last few minutes and let it marry its flavors all together, and then it'll be done. Alright, we are ready to add our chicken back in. And basically I'm just going to stir this up and give it a few more minutes and we will plate it up. This is ready now. Go ahead and take a peek in here. So you want to make sure that it's, you decide on how much liquid you like, but this is how I like it to look when it's finished. So you can see there's still a little bit of liquid in there. I'm going to turn that off. And I've got some tostadas over here now. If you watch my videos, and I love these little ones. Of course you can use the big ones. I just think the little ones are so cute, so that's just my preference. So I'm going to plate some up onto these cute little tostadas. This looks good. It smells very spicy, which is a good thing. Cesar likes it spicy. So there's lots of spice in this. And just load that on there. Bring it back over here. Now this is just personal preference. You do what you like, but I'm just going to put a little crema on there. And then, you can never have too much hot sauce. And Cesar's favorite is Cholula, but we're all out of Cholula today, so this is his second favorite. We kind of go through that pretty fast. So there you have another wonderful traditional Mexican dish. Keep watching because we're always making new things in the kitchen, and I've got lots of recipes up my sleeve that I'm just waiting to share with you. Enjoy! I know your mouth is watering because it's so good.
Mom? Seatbelts for safety first.
So how are they, mi amor?
Okay, we're gonna go speed. Let's go.